Hi everyone, welcome to this live event. Just minutes after we proudly introduced the new Ultegra R8000 group set to the world. We are broadcasting from our new European headquarters here in Eindhoven, the Netherlands. My name is Erik van Koten, Brand Manager Road, and next to me you'll find Rob Busser, one of our technical educational representatives. In the next 30 minutes or so, we will answer your questions regarding this new group set. So in case you didn't put in your question in the comment box yet, do it right away. Good to know is that our social team will answer all of your questions even after this live broadcast has ended. And before we go to the first question, let me tell you briefly about what this new group set is all about. Basically, this group set, what you see over here, is really made for you. The way you ride, whether it's up in the mountains, on the flats, or on the gravel roads. The way you like your bike to be set up, with mechanical or electronic shifting, with hydraulic disc brakes or wind brakes. So basically, you can customize the hardware the way you want, but via our E-Tube platform, also the way your bike functions and performs. The speed of shifting, how the shift buttons on the hoods react, and of course, synchronized shifting, which we introduced on Dura-Ace, but also on some of our high-end mountain bike group sets. Ultegra is designed equally for racing, training, performing, or just for enjoying cycling with friends. Ultegra allows you to recapture the passion of riding, and in the end, it was our goal to bring really high-end technology and products to you guys, the truly passionate riders. That was the short introduction. So while we give you the time to ask us questions in the comment box, we first have a look at the heart of this group set, the Crankset. Rob, can you briefly tell the audience something about the design of the new Crankset?
Yes, of course. The Crankset is already coming down from Dura-Ace level we introduced last year. First, you see the more robust Crankset. It's slightly bigger, but also slightly lighter than previous Ultegra. Next to that, it's also stiffer. The other advantage of this new Crankset is it's designed specifically also for race ready bikes with disc brakes. So the chainstay can get smaller and you have less interference between chain and chain rings. So it's suitable for all kinds of bikes, rim brake, disc brake, DR2 or mechanical.
Okay, perfect. What we see over here, of course, is a Di2 setup. While we're close to the Crankset, basically what's also quite new on the mechanical is the front derailleur. Rob, can you tell us a little bit more about the front derailleur?
The new front derailleur, especially the mechanical one, is completely new designed. We previously launched it already with Dura-Ace last year also. It has a new cable tension adjust barrel. We call it toggle design. And you can adjust the cable tension on the FD itself, which has the benefit of no inline barrel adjuster at your cockpit. So it's a more sleek design and more integration, and also it's just better shifting also.
Okay, cool. We received our first question basically coming in from Lucian. What is the difference in weight compared to the new Dura-Ace? Let's say a full group set.
Yeah, he's asking about the mechanical version. So if we talk about the mechanical Ultegra, the difference, the answer for Ultegra is 2.31 kilograms. For Di2 it's 2.46 kilograms. And the Di2 without disc is 2.25 kilograms. If we compare it to Dura-Ace, to R9100, we have to check a little bit in detail the numbers on that. If possible, we come back to that later during this session. We will have a look at that numbers to give you in detail.
Yeah, let's do that. Of course, keep posting your questions. What I also like to mention is that we have just launched a new website. Please go to shimano.com/myultegra for the latest product details and images. Talking about Di2, can you tell something, Rob, about the buttons on the hood?
Yes, it's something not secret, but most people don't know it. It's also new for Ultegra. We already had it previous Dura-Ace. Also for current Dura-Ace, we have buttons on top of the shifters. We had it before only for interaction with your third-party display in combination with your wireless unit. From this year on, we also have it available for shifting. So now you can choose in eTube. You can choose if you want the buttons used for shifting or if you want to use it in combination with a wireless unit for scrolling down your menu for your third-party display, for example.
Right, and I heard you talking about eTube. Can you tell the audience a little bit more about what is the platform about? What can people do on eTube? And how does that reflect to this new Ultegra group set?
Yeah, eTube is our platform to connect the Di2 bike with your laptop, or since last year also with your tablet or smartphone, iOS or the other platforms that are there. For the tablet and the iPhone or the phone, you need a wireless unit. If you're talking about MTB, you need a display to connect wirelessly with Bluetooth low energy. If you have a linkage device for your laptop or computer, you can connect with a cable to your Di2 group set, and then you can connect your bike. You can customize shifting options. You can do error check. Error check is only not possible with your phone, but it is possible with a tablet and with a laptop. And of course, you can also set up synchronized shifting, multi-shifting, etc.
Pretty cool. We're receiving a question from Gustavo. He's asking basically what is the difference between Ultegra, the previous Ultegra, and this new one, the R8000 series. Gustavo has the old version in Di2. Can we give him some details on what is new on this specific setup, on this Di2 setup?
So if we previous group set we only had Di2, we didn't have any disc brake. So if I compare just the Di2 bike with previous Ultegra and current newly launched Ultegra, we have some differences. First, we already talked about the shifting buttons on the hood. Then we also have the junction, which is new since last year with Dura-Ace. You can integrate it inside your handlebar or inside your frame, depending on manufacturer of handlebar or frame. Then we also have slightly new front derailleur. And of course, a big improvement is the rear derailleur, which is now shadow. And also it's direct mount, which gives you more space to get out of your wheel, to replace the wheel, especially with, in this case, here is disc brake. Then we have synchronized shifting, which is available for the group set. That are basically the Di2 features that we have at this moment. And of course, in combination with the wireless unit, you can again connect it wirelessly with eTube to set up your preferred shifting options.
You were talking about the Shadow RD rear derailleur. Can you tell a little bit more about that technology?
The Shadow derailleur is, we already knew it from MTB. It's designed underneath the chainstay, so it's really low profile. So during a crash or when the bike falls down, there's less possibility to damage your RD, and there's less possibility you have a faulty product. Next to that is also a little bit more aerodynamic, and there's some benefits for adjustability for especially wider gear ratio.
Right. Coming back to a previous question about the weight difference between Dura-Ace and this new Ultegra group set. If we compare both mechanical group sets, then the Dura-Ace one is 2.007 gram and the R8000 is 2.31 kilogram. So about 30 kilograms difference in weight. Again, I'd like to ask you to keep posting your questions. We are here, of course, to answer them, but also after this show has stopped, the social team in the various countries will answer all of your questions even after the session. I received a really good question from Wouter. I think that's a good one for you, Rob. Can you make coffee with it?
Can you make coffee with it?
Yeah.
With a group set? No, it's quite difficult. Quite difficult.
But
I haven't tried it yet, but maybe we should give it a shot.
Yeah, give it a shot. That's a nice one. Then I received a question from something about Welsh Creek, about the E-tube and synchronized shift. Well, basically that is something that we already discussed. Something about the tires and the braking. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, of course we have disc brakes. Then the tire size is more limited by wheels or by frame.
Yeah.
If we talk about caliper brakes, the new caliper brakes have a maximum tire width of 28C, so a little bit wider, also to make it better for current bikes and trends in the market.
Yeah. The question from Welsh Greek: what is the max cassette size for the rear mag?
Yeah, we have for the Ultegra we have two rear derailleurs with two different cages. Both for mechanical as DI2, it's the same. The small cage is for minimum 25 and maximum 30, and the long cage is from 28 until 34. So also there we increased from 32 to 34 to have a bigger range available. One thing to mention about the 34 cassette, it's not Ultegra cassette, but it's Ultegra level. And we made it available on a different platform. You can even mount it on a 10-speed hub to cover the distance between some 29-inch bikes used on gravel, for example, which only have 10-speed hubs. So you can also mount this one on a 10-speed hub, the 1134 cassette.
Yeah, and that's basically also a good example of why this group set is so made for you, because you can really customize to your own needs, like this 1134 cassette. If you want to go up in the high mountains, I think it's a perfect example that we really thought of you, the rider in particular, and the needs you have on the road or wherever you want to ride your bike. A question coming in from Mark: can you use components from the new group set with the old one?
You can, but there are some limits to it, especially when you talk to the crankset and the FD. If you use the new crankset, because of what I explained about the differences with the old one, if you use a new crankset, you always need the latest front derailleur, or Ultegra or Dura-Ace, but you need the latest one. For the rest, shifters FD and RD are compatible with previous group sets. So that is a possibility to combine if you want.
Yeah, perfect. A question coming in from Maninder: when can we expect the new R8000 wheel set to be launched? Well, basically there will not be a R8000 wheel set, so there will not be an Ultegra branded wheel set as part of this group set. There will, however, be a Ultegra level wheel set available, both for rim brakes as disc brakes, and it's called the RS series, and on Ultegra level, in particular the RS 700 series. RS 700 for rim brakes, RS 770 for disc brakes. Something you can add about that, or?
Maybe good to mention is that the disc brake version is 24 millimeter width, and the rim brake version is a 20.4 millimeter width, same as we currently have with Dura-Ace, and both versions are tubeless.
A question coming in from Brent Stafford. Why can I do single shifting with a 1428 cassette? The option for single shift on a 1428 cassette is disabled. Is that something that we can help Brent with?
Not really at this moment. It's limited from headquarters because of shifting performance. Several options are limited because we haven't checked them before in original spec. For this group set, I honestly have to say I don't know if 1128 will be already available with synchronized shift. That's something I need to check with headquarters. So.
Yeah, Brent, that is something that we will find out, and we come back to you and answer your question on social media after we know the final answer of that. Let me remind you to keep posting your questions, of course, and also like to remind you of the fact that we have a new Ultegra website live at this moment, shimano.com/myultegra, which you can visit to get all the information, get all the high-res images, and even participate in a share and win competition in which you can win a group set. Let's quickly do a catch-up of what we've discussed so far, Rob. We started with the crankset. Is there something that we can tell about the crankset once more?
Maybe we can also answer a question from Roy I see coming in. Roy asked if also we have an integrated power meter with our Ultegra level crankset. At this moment, there's no Ultegra power meter, so we only have launched it for Dura-Ace, and will not be available for the R8000 series. So that's the answer for Roy. Then I see a question also from John. He asked when the new group sets for Ultegra will be available. Do we have some information?
Yeah, we can talk about availability indeed. The mechanical group set, the R8000 series, will actually be available from later this month onwards. Both the Di2 and the Di2 hydraulic disc brake version will be available from August onwards. So basically the new Ultegra series is basically almost ready to hit the shop floor, well, from now till basically end of summer. A small recap about what we've been discussing so far. Starting with the crankset, the beautiful designed crankset. Can you once more repeat what the difference is compared to the previous version?
Compared to the previous version of Ultegra, there are three differences, or major differences. One is the more robust and stiff crankset. Two is it's slightly lighter than the previous version. And three, it's a little bit changed the design to make it more race specific, especially for disc brake bikes. So you can make the chainstay shorter and you have less interference between chain and chain rings, so less noise on extreme gear options. Then also, if you talk about the chain line itself, then we of course have the RD, which is shadow and direct mount, if you like, depending on your frame, of course. And we have the cassette, which is also available now in 34, starting from a 25th cassette. Also, the junior cassette will be available 1428, and we have two cages for the RD, a small one and a long cage.
Perfect. Maybe it's good to highlight once more and focus a little bit in on the rotors that are available. Basically, they come in two sizes, 160 and 140. Any particular technology to highlight?
We improved our rotors compared to the non-branded series we had before, already from Dura-Ace on. This is the same technology. We improved the heat dissipation in the rotors, so there's less there's more power. There's less problems during hot descents, and less problems with touching rotors and that kind of stuff. So we improved with 40%. So it's quite a lot better to compare to older versions together with the Dura-Ace version.
Right. I see a question coming in from Andres. Are you guys going to release a 1x11 for CX, gravel, and triathlon, etc.? Well, basically, the answer is quite simple, and that is no. We believe that the Ultegra group set is a real high-performance group set with a clear link to racing. Small gear steps are basically essential to keep the right cadence, etc. So, no, there will not be a 1x11 version for this particular group set as we presented here today. Mm-hmm. Question coming in from Dennis. I see he has a question about the stem. What is that? What is the stem? Can you tell a little bit about that?
It's an aero stem from Pro, the Pro Vibe. It's also combined with the handlebar. As I already talked about the internal junction, you can put it inside the handlebar, and that's of course depending on manufacturer of handlebar. In this case it's Pro. Pro has a combination with stem and handlebar. You can have internal routing of your DA2 cables and also brake cables, and then your junction can be inside the handlebar to make a clean cockpit underneath. And only one cable is coming out of the handlebar at this moment. Right.
Question coming in from Lucian. Again about the availability of the products. Maybe in this case, in particular, the mechanical R8000 series. And the answer to that is June. So from June, end of June, the R8000 mechanical group will be available in stores. Then a question from Sean. What is the main difference between the new Dura-Ace rotor and this Ultegra rotor?
Basically, it's material use and finish, and therefore also the weight that's coming with it. The technology used inside is the same, but the finish is matching the Ultegra colors more than the Dura-Ace. And the materials used are slightly heavier than Dura-Ace, so it's more robust, but it's also a little bit heavier.
Yeah, and question coming in from Case, a little bit related to that one. What is the difference, or is there a lot of difference in weight in terms of comparing disc brakes and regular rim brakes?
Mm-hmm. If we go back to the original answer of the weight of new Ultegra, we see a small difference between a DA2 bike and a DA2 disc bike. It's around, if I have to remember, it's around 150 grams difference between DA2 and DA2 disc brake. So there is a small difference, but the difference is quite small.
Right, and I see a question, well, that's more like a personal question from Amelie. Rob, are we brothers?
Are we brothers? Not that I know.
No, we have to check that. We come back to you, Amelie. I'm not sure as well. Maybe it's good to once more remind you of the fact that, of course, you can still keep posting your questions in the comment box below, and that the new Ultegra website is out live on shimano.com/myultegra. A question coming in from Henry. How much is the Crankset going to be in the UK?
Yes, that's a difficult question for us to answer because it can be different per region. So we cannot really say what's the exact price for your market, but we can give a better answer if you contact the distributor, or maybe we will have. They already have the price available from today on. So for us, it's difficult to say what it will cost in the UK.
Exactly. let's do a small recap again of what we have been discussing so far. Maybe it's good to focus on the extra wide tires that we can now use in with this new Ultegra group set.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, especially with the rim brake version, you are quite limited with the tire width. What I also like to mention is that if you would like to know any specification of all products, please go to the website, which is shimano.com/myultegra. There you can all find all information you want to know. For the rim brake version, we have a limit of 28C tires. For the disc brake version, of course, it's limited by wheel and by frame manufacturer.
Yep.
So it's difficult to mention.
Yeah, and that is also another example of what I've been talking about before, about the way you can customize your own bike for your specific needs. So, of course, wider tires, which is a clear trend nowadays. If you like to go on gravel roads, if you like to go on these adventurous paths, of course you can use these tires now fully in conjunction with this new Ultegra group set. A question coming in from Justin. The R8000 wheel sets, are they made from carbon? Well, like I said before, we don't have R8000 wheels. The wheels are Ultegra level, but they are called RS series. And they're not made from carbon, but they are carbon laminated. And maybe you can tell a little bit more about, let's say, the other features of the wheel set.
Basically, carbon laminated means that it's carbon with aluminium. Now with the rim brake version we have here, you cannot see the aluminium surface for rim brake, but it's still inside to make it more robust and also slightly cheaper for the complete market. For the specifications, we also have the hubs. They are also individually available. And of course, it's a 30 millimeter rim. So it's for all purposes you can use it. You can use it for road bike, also a little bit more in windy conditions. Whatever you want to do with these wheels, you can do with it.
Yeah. A question from Arne regarding the new website. Please go to shimano.com/myultegra, Arne, myultegra, and then you can see all product details and images. Question coming in from Brent. Has Shimano worked with Strava or other app developers to support recording Di2 shifting data?
Good question, but we are both not working in Japan in product development. So we cannot not say for sure it's yes or no, but I have no information about this at all. Next to that, it's also a little bit difficult with consumption of battery, and there's no GPS, of course, in your bike. You have it on your phone, but it's a possibility, but I never heard of such a thing. So
no. Then a question from Tristan. Will you ever add a clutch to the RD for Quas 1x setups?
We don't have a 1x setup, so basically for 1x we can already forget. But for to adding a clutch for cross setup, for us there's no need, because there's no demand for such a thing. Even on races like Paris-Roubaix for Dura-Ace or Ultegra, if you use that one, we never had any issues with a dropping chain because of bumps. And also the bumps are completely different than for mountain biking, for example, where you have big drops. So it's a completely different thing than mountain biking. Yeah, so at this moment, no idea to add a clutch to the RD.
No. A question coming in from Marco. Will there be an electronic group set? Well, the answer of that is quite simple. Yes, Marco, there will be a electronic group set. If you talk about a normal rim brake version. The series is called 8050 series, and hydraulic Di2 is the 8070 series group set. Both available from end of summer onwards, so let's say August, end of August onwards. Question coming from Makato, and that is a question about weight and about the shift levers. Is there any? Well, how heavy are they? Do we can we tell about that? Do you know them by heart or?
The weight about the specific shifter, the difference between the rim brake version mechanical and the disc brake version mechanical shifting. I don't know the difference by head, but he also asked if there's a reach adjustment and pad contacts. I can say, of course, there are two adjustments. You can adjust the reach of your shifter, so if it is closer to the handlebar or further away, if you have small hands or big hands. Next to that, you can also change the free stroke, so how much you have to squeeze your shifters until the braking starts. Weights, we have to come back to that one later directly via social media or if possible even within this session.
Yeah, exactly. A question from Randy van Duren. What about compatibility with existing climbing or sprinting switches for Di2 and junction boxes?
Yeah, good question. But there are basically not real limitations on sprinting shift switches or climbing switches or junction boxes. The only restriction to that is you can only have 6 shifting buttons. So one shifter left, one shifter right. That means that you can add 2 sprinting shifters and 2 climbing shifters if you would like. Junction box also doesn't matter. You can still use the old one underneath your stem. All is possible. The only thing we have to say is that with the Di2 hydraulic disc brake version, you need to use the new sprinting shifters that are available from Dura-Ace. You cannot use the old sprinting shifters because they need a special plug and there's not enough space in the hydraulic system to fit them in.
All right, then 2 questions from Henry, although I do not know if this is the same person. The first one, can I mix this with Ultegra 6700 series?
6700 series, that's a 10-speed group set. So that basically means that you cannot combine it with the crankset, you cannot combine it with your shifters, with your derailleurs, you cannot combine it with your chain, you cannot combine it with your cassettes. The only thing that is possible is to mount your 10-speed shifters and combine it with complete drivetrain we see here. Shifters are not important, but the rest is really keep 10-speed to 10-speed, 11-speed to 11-speed.
Right. So Henry, it's better to upgrade if you have the option. And then the same question, well, not the same question, but about the wheel set. Is it a new wheel set? The answer basically is yes. This is a new wheel set. This is called the RS 770 series, which is Ultegra level, but not Ultegra branded. Question from Marc André. Di2 will have the same internal routing.
I don't know exactly what Marc-André means with the same internal routing. If he means the same internal routing as we see on this bike, basically we can say yes, because this is a Di2 bike. It's a disc brake bike, but it's Di2. So it has the same internal routing. You can have the internal junction. You can also have it in your frame. That depends on manufacturer. And also if you would have like the junction inside the handlebar, also depends on your handlebar manufacturer if it is possible, because your wires need to run in the handlebar and needs to come out at the end or even at the shifter. That's depending on the manufacturer. So it's the same as you see here.
Once more, I'd like to remind you to keep post your questions in the comment box below. Like said, we will answer them all. If not now, then in a later stage this evening or tomorrow. Question coming in from Jan. How are the delivery times of the set with disc brakes? Because he read somewhere that the times were long. Well, basically, like said before already, Jan, for the disc brake version of this Ultegra group set, the 8070 series, the timing will be August. I expect end of August that the group set, that specific group set, will be available. Question coming in from Bertus. What is the maximum tire width for the rim brake version?
Yeah, also a question we already did before, but welcome you. Good that you joined, Bertus. The rim brake versions are maximum 28 millimeters, 28C. So you can. It's bigger than before, so you can go to 28. That's the max.
Okay. Then a question coming in from Tristan. What will the stock chainring options be?
Basically, the stock, that's always depending on distributor what they will have ordered, but we will have several options. We will have a 5339, we will have a 5236, we will have a 5034, and next to that also we have a version for cyclocross, which is 4636. That are the 4 options we will give.
Yeah. Question coming in from Gino then. Gino has Campagnolo wheels, and he basically wants to know, can I fit my 1229 cassette with this group set?
That of course depends on your wheel, if it is 11-speed ready. 1228 is a cassette that is within the range of short gauge Derailleur. So that's within the limits and should be possible, but we cannot guarantee it will shift perfectly because we haven't tested on Campagnolo cassettes also.
Exactly. Then the final question basically from Dimitar Antov, and he's asking about any new materials used.
New materials.
So yeah, that is basically, we're not 100% sure what Dimitar is talking about, but really new materials. Of course, we are always trying to reduce weight and to find the right balance between weight and stiffness. Maybe we can tell a little bit more about the rotor.
Of course, we have the new rotor, which is improved with the inside of the fin, which causing the heat is better going out. So you have more braking power on long hot descents. Next to that, of course, we have the crankset, which is a little bit improved and more stiffer. And of course, new materials. Maybe it also means new parts. Difficult to know, but we have the new junction. Wireless unit is always possible to combine. Crankset is improved. The new Shadow RD, also direct mount, and also first time we have Ultegra disc brakes in the market.
Yeah. Well, that was basically the final question we could answer in this live session. Like I said before, our social team in the various countries is ready to answer all of your questions even after this event has stopped. For now, we welcome you to visit the new Ultegra page on shimano.com/myultegra for more detailed information and images. And there's even an option to create your own personal Ultegra poster, and you stand a chance to win a new group set in case you share that poster on your social media channels. In case you're in Europe, have a nice evening. In case you're in Japan, go to bed. And in case you're in the US, good morning and thanks for joining us. I'd like to say thanks to Rob and of course to all of you for watching. And now go out and ride.